I am so sick, Corey. I'm dying.
I'm recovering myself, man.
We both are just. I don't know about you, but this weekend I felt like a bag of smashed assholes. That's exactly how I felt.
I don't know what that felt like, but I definitely am 5 to 10 pounds fucking lighter than I was.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So, hey, everyone listening, welcome to the Two Dads Review podcast. We drug ourselves in to the hobby office to record what is a fantastic episode of Star Trek Discovery, and all the action that Corey could have ever wanted piled into a decently lengthy episode as opposed to last week.
Oh yeah, there was a whole bunch of like smash, pow, kaboom going on for me. I loved it. It was great. It was fantastic.
You're right. They're one step from having like the pow,
yeah,
bam.
I was just like waiting for the boom.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a great episode. A lot of theories and thoughts and directions. People that were pondering where things were going have now gone by the wayside and are not anymore, at least for now. But we will definitely get to that. First things first, we'll run through the administrative stuff. As always, you can find us over at twodadsreview.com. That's the word two, not the number two, sorry. From there, you can find links to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, Stitcher, TuneIn, and new this week, we are also available. Wow. Okay. Yep. There you go. We are available on Radio Public as well, so you can find us also on the Radio Public app. We hope to see a couple other places pop up here in the future, but Audio Boom's got to push those things through. So anytime, Audio Boom, just saying. And then, as always, you can find us at our YouTube channel, which has been getting some good traffic. We've got our normal commenters on there talking about all the stuff for the last episode. Good old long write-ups, too. I'm like, I got to read all this now. It's like, shit. I wasn't ready to read all this.
I love it because it's intriguing, though. It's like, oh my God, someone else is there. They're like, hey man, they're listening, they're talking. Yes, this is awesome. Great. Hold on. Slow it down. I got to read this stuff. I got to read it all.
Well, what's even worse is like, I didn't even being this weekend, it was just like one of those colds where it was like fever and coughing and not moving. And I didn't get in front of a computer like the entire weekend. And I'm just not going to sign into my phone. I'm not going to type long answers on a phone. I just can't do it. So I was like, man, I feel bad I'm not responding to some of these comments, but Jesus, I feel bad. So I had to drug myself out of bed just to watch Sunday was all day in bed. Like the wife was awesome. She's like, just go get better. I got the kids and I was just in bed. I pulled myself out for like meals and to blow my nose. And that was it. So it was rough. Let's see. You can also check us out. We have our t-shirt is still up and available if you'd like to grab one over at teespring.com/2dadsreview. And if you feel like contributing to us and like what we do and want to throw a little something our way, our Patreon is also available under Two Dads Review as well. So that is it. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Tumblr, all under, guess what? Two Dads Review. So yeah, there you go. That's us. And if you are new to us this episode, thank you for finding us. Thank you for giving us a shot. If you are a seasoned veteran of our show, welcome back as usual. And let's jump right into it. Okay, before we break into the plot breakdown, Corey, give me your overall. How'd you like episode 13, bro?
For an episode 13, it was a solid episode. I think it was a great episode. For me, this episode was a good, clean episode. There was no letdown. It gave me what I wanted, and it didn't feed me enough of anything else. It just kind of cleaned some stuff up.
Theoretical, definitive answers.
Yes.
Because nothing is ever definitive in a sci-fi show, but for now, definitive things have happened.
Yes, yeah, like there was no real what ifs. Like it was, if you were just viewing it for what it is, you're like, yep, that just happened. Okay, Sweet. Got it.
Like, I will take that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. Then we'll figure out later down the road if you guys want to go creative with this, whatever. But right now, I'm satisfied with what you're giving me.
What you're giving me right this second. I completely agree. A lot of good action. We had mentioned the past couple episodes were a bit talky and a bit they were setting this up and they set it up well. I don't think I'm going to change my score from last week because I still think they could just put the 2 episodes together. I don't care if they needed 15. I don't care. We're already going to be in spoilers. So did you think, I personally did think we were going to come out of the mirror universe this quick. I thought it was going to be like a whole cat and mouse episode, like this episode, and then it was going to like have its final fight plus major stuff next episode. But we got it all this episode, and then jumped right, and then we're back into Prime Universe. So are you happy we're already out of the mirror universe, or did you want like one more episode?
No, because I think if you had one more episode, then you had to just finish the whole season there, and it was kind of like, all right, either get on with what's happening over here and make them stay, or let's just get the hell out. Like,
right.
You know, I don't think there was enough of anything they could have done to make people want them to stay there. So I was happy they got out.
I give you that, and I'm also happy because of the glimpse we got at the next episode. I like that they're going to take 2 episodes to set up, because you're pretty much getting a 2-episode setup for next season.
Yeah.
You're just, it's going to be, here's where we are. This whole next episode is going to be learning out where we are now, everybody getting reacclimated, and then episode 15 will be like the new main problem / cliffhanger, probably. I don't know. Probably something like that. But I already like where the Prime Universe is going to go with it. I do have a question for you. Did this episode we're on right now, did it remind you of something you've watched before, of maybe a movie you've watched, like a really, really well-known movie? If you think about it, actually a couple of them. If there's a couple movies that may plot lines may flow with the show.
No, I mean, not that I noticed, to be honest with you, man. Like, now that you're bringing it up, I'm trying to like rack my brain.
I so did not ask you before we started recording either. So I apologize for that. So you have, let me see if I can break it down better, because the After Trek guy mentioned it, but I wanted to know if you picked up on it. So you've got you've got bad guys on board and a single person running through the bowels of the location, crawling through air ducts.
Yeah, so we got like a Die Hard.
It's exactly what it was. Yeah. Like, so the writer is the same guy who wrote, and I can't remember which one it was, but it's the guy that pissed everybody off on Twitter when he was answering questions in an airport. But it was definitely a spinoff of Die Hard a little bit, one of his favorites, and it was kind of cool when he said it. I was like, oh, that makes complete sense. So that was kind of cool. But then there's also, you know, a couple of rebels on a spaceship trying to disable the shield, which is pretty much like Star Wars, like Return of the Jedi. Like, it's literally Return of the Jedi.
Yeah. We got to fly down the center and shoot it, and
and not to mention, if I scroll down on my notes, I literally have written Jabba the Hutt door, because it's what she has in front of her throne. It's literally, instead of a Rancor, it's a giant flaming ball of spores. Like, but it's still the Jabba the Hutt trap door. I was like, that's pretty on the nose there. Just saying.
Yeah. Now, do you think that's like, hey, what's up? Shout out. Just, we're all nerds, or is that just someone going,
they don't get the only trapdoor in front of the throne. We can have one too.
Yeah. You know, is that kind of like a big middle finger too? Right. At the same time,
my trapdoor is better than your trapdoor. Yeah, I don't know, but yeah. So it was a fantastic episode. There's a lot of parts I cannot wait to talk about, and a lot of speculation for the future events, and kind of tying in a few of the timeline type issues that we're going to run into shortly, like as this episode moves, or as this next episodes show up. So let's go ahead and jump into just stepping through the episode like we normally do. If you're new here, if you're tuning in and you're like, how the hell is this podcast probably 2 hours long, which we don't know it's going to be, but every time it ends up being practically that, is we're going to walk you through every scene of the episode, and we're going to make sure we talk about anything that we need to talk about, because Corey and I both believe that this show is, we're not talking Game of Thrones level of like intricacies, but there is a lot of work that went into these scripts, and a lot of things there's nothing that's a throwaway. So we know a lot of stuff needs to be talked about. So just hang on. We're going to roll through this whole show. So, episode 13, Star Trek Discovery, title is What's Past is Prologue, also from a Shakespeare play. I didn't write down which one like I did last week. I didn't feel like doing it, but it is from a Shakespeare play as well. We pick up literally where we left off after Lorca killed his Captain Maddox. Maddox? Is that right?
Yeah.
I think so. We're going with Maddox because he's dead, so who gives a shit?
Yeah, why not?
Sorry.
Sure.
Yeah, so Lorca is freeing his crew. This is the crew that Maddox had mentioned earlier last episode about them having to like clear one whole shuttle bay out so they could fill it full of agonizers. And so this is all of his crew that were part of the rebellion against Emperor Giorgio. And we learned that they have been in those agonizers for 1 year and 212 days.
Yeah, man. Like, I don't know what level the thing had to have been set on, but every one of them should have been dead. There's just no way you're surviving for a year like that.
So the best part, on the after trek, they had, spoiler alert, it's not spoiler alert, but when he's freeing his crew, we see what was teased last week is Commander Landry of the Mirror Universe is back, which is awesome. They had they had the actress Rekha Sharma, I think is her name, on the after trek, and her and the writer both agree with your train of thought as the agonizer. Like, I've just thought it was like immense pain, like continuous pain. They're on the same track as you, where it's like the worst food poisoning you've ever had, and like nails on a chalkboard, like everything that like just drives you insane.
Yeah, dude, like every pet peeve you've ever had maxed out to the nth degree.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
God, that would be excruciating.
Yeah. So you've been vindicated. You've been vindicated because even the writers and actresses or actors also think that that's pretty much what they're made of. Because that much pain, at some point your body's going to turn it off. So I like that.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, you got to mess with the brain, man. That's where it's at.
Very true. So Landry just she's a little shaken coming out, but she snaps to pretty quick, and she's like, "Hey, we still got friends on other planets. We need to get it. I don't know how you got on this ship, but we need to get the fuck out of here. Let's regroup." and Lorca in his cockiness was like, "I have been to another universe and back. Like, you think I'd come all this way without a plan?" So he's like, "We're not leaving. We are exactly where we need to be."
Yeah, he reminded me of like Meatloaf and like Bat Out of Hell. Like, I just was just like, I don't know why, dude, but that's where I'm taking it.
Nice. Go with it.
Like, I don't know, man. I just pictured like Lorca just kind of sitting there riding a motorcycle, like coming out of hell. And I like, it was just Meatloaf all up and down. And I was just like, I don't know why I'm going with Meatloaf on this. I don't understand, but I couldn't get it out of my head, dude. I was seeing Meatloaf on the TV there for a little bit.
Nice. That's awesome. So he's got a hefty crew to behind him down, to be able to take his plan, whatever his plan ends up being. I'm not really sure how much of it, other than like if his plan was like look like a badass, like I'll go with that just because I loved his chest plate. Like whatever he was wearing, wherever he found that was sweet.
Yeah, that thing was cool. Yeah, but at the same time, I was like, You're not trying to be like inconspicuous anymore. You don't care. You're just like, hey, here's my shiny chest plate. Like, come on, shoot me. I dare you.
It's pretty. You like it. Yeah, exactly. So they end up, they literally head, at least him and Landry head directly to Stamets's lab. We learned that Stamets is who betrayed them originally, which is how the coup originally failed in the first place when he jumped universes. He is going through the thing, and somehow they actually already have cloaking, not cloaking, but like holographic technology. So Stamets is hiding in a wall, you know.
Yeah, that's why I was like, all right, does he have some kind of like magical cloak device, or is this just like a solid hologram and he was just kind of fucking hiding behind it, like hoping no one catches his feet under the curtain or something, you know?
Well,
right?
yeah, exactly. It's like, if that's going to be where you choose to hide, I mean, I guess it's probably like your panic room in this. So he's just in the lab chilling, and then someone blows the door. He just like slips into his hidey hole. But like, you got to fine tune that better so it doesn't flicker like it did. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if you're going to use Windows, you got to know it's going to fuck up sometimes.
Or like at least have like another barrier. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, dude, that'll get you in the clear for 5 seconds for you to hit that scuddy hole behind you, and then shut the solid object
right
in between you. Like, don't just stand there behind the fucking, I don't know what you want to call it.
I've got a great 20th century idea. Instead of a fucking holographic wall that doesn't really work that well, why don't you just build a fucking door that you can be like, panic room, close it. We're all good to go. I know it's not as cool as a holographic, and plus he doesn't get to reach through and grab you by your neck, which was just like more like Lorca got all the badass shit this episode.
Oh yeah, dude, Lorca was like, have you ever seen anything totally alpha male? Because I'm it right now.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, he played every alpha male, both action and political, we've seen recently in this entire episode. And we'll get to the political part later. I have that written down as well. So while he's talking to Stamets, a.k.a. filling us in on the backstory, we learn how Lorca moved to the Prime Universe, and he was transporting back to the Baran while it was under attack because he was down on the planet doing something. I forget what he said. And he tried to transport to the Baran while also the Baran was flying into an ion storm. And from the original series, that's how the original transporter 1-for-1 swap happened, was an ion storm. So that's how he jumped universes. It didn't say that he switched places with the other Lorca. So we really still don't know whatever happened to Prime Lorca. It was never given to us. Just the transporter doesn't necessarily have to swap 1-for-1. I don't know, but because I don't know. Anyway, so we know there's an ion storm plus transporter equals I'm in a different universe now. And the last part they talk about with Stamets is they're like, we know you're working on a bioweapon for the Emperor, so show me what it is. So
that thing was wicked.
Yeah, we pick up a nice sweeping shot down a hallway of like choking and convulsing and seizing and melting
and
people.
They were like, hey dude, we're not sparing anything on how this guy's face is going to just melt
right in the camera
away.
Yeah.
If
you could just
that was great.
If you could just spit that white shit on the lens of the camera while we swing it by you, that's perfect. It was pretty rough. So while he's killing people, they're like, hey, that was 17 decks, Emperor Giorgio. And she goes, if he keeps doing this, he's going to show me where he is. And then, so Burnham's like, hey, he can do this, this, and this, which is pretty much like, hey, I've known him for a few months, even though you've known him for fucking decades. And Giorgio's like, oh, really? Take her to the brig. Like, I don't even like you anymore.
Yeah, she was just like, you're shoe fly, you're bothering me. Go away. Like, she gave her that, like, if you fucking open your mouth one more time, look. Like, it was so great. I was like, yeah, dude. I was like, and then I was like, part of me was like, go on.
Yeah.
Say something else.
Just keep digging. Just keep digging that hole. Like, you're like, I've known him, and he gets into your mind. And she's like, bitch, no shit. You know, it's like, I fucking know you're under arrest.
She's like, do I need to remind you? Here's example A, blah, 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 blah.
Right, the other you that was against me also.
She's like, no shit.
So, Burnham's not going to have any of that jail time, and she makes the sweetest escape. I mean, let's give a round of applause, not in front of our microphones, for the choreography for all the fights this entire episode, because just like her break out and like shoot through the grate of the thing and just slide right down the thing, you know, It was just fantastic.
See, did she shoot it or was it a misfire?
No, nothing was, no, she shot that hole out and then she slid right down it. She was already running towards it when she shot it, man.
Okay, like I just must have missed like her shot in it because like I remember looking and I went, oh, how convenient.
Yeah.
Some stray bullet took out the crate that you were running at. You know, I was like, I mean, all right, I could see it. You were shooting, guy missed, hit your thing. All right, whatever. But now it's cooler that I know that she shot it because I just missed that part. Yeah,
she shot it, and I mean, I'm not trying to tie it into any Star Wars movie, but we literally have her shooting a grate and sliding down wherever it goes to, which is like the original Star Wars, you know, rescuing Princess Leia. But it doesn't matter because it was cool as shit, because none of those fuckers did a baseball slide into it. So, one up on you, Star Wars.
Yeah, but I think there's like... I mean, there's gotta be other movies where that's happened. Like, there's like, isn't that like almost like in like a,
like,
I mean, it's not a gunshot, but like Indiana Jones kind of thing, you know, like slide through so and so hole to fucking save your ass and don't care where the hell it leads.
Oh, so also something produced and or written by George Lucas. Yeah, you're right. You completely, you know, it's
yeah. I know, man. I'm just saying, like, it's a trope. Like, you can't get
like, why wouldn't you do that?
With it.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, like, yeah. If there's a crate and you can slide the fuck into it, like, you better do it. It's just how cool can you do it?
Right,
now?
right.
Like, who cares if it was a copy of a copy of a copy? You can still make it cool. Give somebody different environments and like let's see what they can do with it now.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Jackie Chan does it in every movie he's ever in.
Yeah, right? I mean, the guy does it with a fucking ladder, you know. Who cares?
Yeah, Jackie Chan does it better than everybody, and he does it himself.
Yes.
No stunt doubles. I wonder if he had stunt doubles for The Foreigner. Did you watch The Foreigner yet?
No, I have not seen it.
I saw The Foreigner, and I'm watching it like, he's not doing his normal stuff because he's like 60-something. But I'm like, I wonder if I was like, a couple of those, I was like, Jackie, did you do that, bro? Like, you need to stop, man. Like, it's cool. You did it by yourself forever. But like, you got to stop, man, because you're getting old. Like, you don't want you breaking yourself because you're cool. It's a great movie, by the way. If you haven't seen it, Corey, you should watch it. Anybody listening, if you've not seen The Foreigner, it's great. It's got Pierce Brosnan. It's got Jackie Chan. And what could go wrong? So, and it's Pierce Brosnan doing he's like an Irish like an Irish, like NRA, like guy. And I'm like, is Pierce Brosnan normally Irish, or is he a British guy doing a bad Irish accent? I couldn't tell. So I don't know. I digress. We've gone off on a tangent. My bad. I got into something else. Damn it, Jackie Chan. So our next scene takes us to the Discovery. We get Saru's first captain's log, and I have a lot of kudos for Doug Jones this episode. The guy that plays Saru, he is... first things first, we don't deserve him on this show just because he's like that good of an actor, and like he's in The Shape of Water, you know, he was in all the Hellboys, like he was in Pan's Labyrinth, like he's not just nobody. You just never know who he is because he's always behind 8 pounds of rubber makeup. You know what I mean? But he is awesome, and he is he's loving this role, and he's blowing everybody out of the water. And he can emote more with only the ability to like open his mouth and blink his eyes than half the people. Well, they're all good actors, but half people in Hollywood right now.
Yeah, I mean, but that's also like what he's known for.
Agreed.
Like,
I mean, it is his
being in pounds of makeup and like doing cool shit with it, you know. But I mean, is it really that cool? Like, you got to be behind that much. Like, he doesn't do a whole lot without makeup.
I know, but he's still fantastic. Like, he's
fantastic. But I'm saying, like, is it only cool because he's the only guy with his like weird body type that looks fucking somehow always normal and
all
elongated at the same time and all that makeup?
Right.
Like,
let's not pretend like he's not playing the same character, just in different shades of color. Like, because
they
okay.
Put him there
in,
we go. Like, yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like in like The Shape of Water, like
he could be Abe Sapien. Like before
that's what
Hellboy.
I was like. At first, I was like, dude, is this like an Abe Sapien origin story? I was like, that's fucking cool as shit.
I think from what people are saying about the movies, you could, if you watch it that way, it works in your head. Like if you watch it, like, no, this is Abe Sapien prequel. Like this is the origin. This is Abe Sapien origins.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay, all right, yeah.
I know. We're doing it again. It's really bad. But yeah, so anyways, Saru gives his first captain's log. It's very well done. It's nicely stated. During his captain's log, we learned that Stamets is fully recovered, or as fully recovered as he could be. The spore store, the crop of spores, is not good. Like, everything's dead. It's not salvageable. And that is explained. Stamets is there's a scene in engineering where I've written again technobabble, but it's pretty much explaining how that core of energy on the Emperor's ship, the Charon, is sucking all the mycelial energy from all of the universes everywhere and using it to power that ship. And at some point, it will deteriorate the entire network, and it will kill all life. Not just all life in the mirror universe, all life everywhere in every universe everything. So we're pretty high stakes.
I was like, okay, so they're telling us that the little blue floaty things are like the energy for the world. Or the energy for every single thing.
It's the muscles and sinews that power life as we know. It's the Force, dude. It's what it really is. It's like mycelial, or what's the term from the prequels? Midichlorians. It's just midichlorians. It's just a different way of saying it.
All right, but I'm just saying, like, if it was like gone, wouldn't it just stop the transport between the universes?
No, it's but see, the mycelial network doesn't see the universes as different and separate. And Stamets now also understands why that it's not different and separate, that they're all connected and they're all intertwined. So what happens to one happens to another, and they're all tied together, which really sucks if you have a really shit-ass universe like this one. It's like, we're just going to fucking rape and pillage and burn everything and see what happens at the end.
That's what I was saying. Like, I know it's supposed to heal itself, but then it's got to be able to heal it, like, beyond rapid rates, because there's got to be a lot of dick universes going on out there as well.
Well, you have to think that, well, true, but not that it created this kind of energy-sucking core, because in fact, the core itself hasn't really been around that long. It's only been around as long as right before Mirror Stamets got stuck in the mycelial network where he met other Stamets, because it was his design of this ship. So the ship is fairly new, and so I can understand why it's like everything's not already dying or whatever. But I mean, I guess other ones could have done it, but I don't know. It's part of the story, man. The whole life and everything is gonna die if someone doesn't figure this out.
Yeah, no, like, I get that. I was just saying, then you just, like, when you think about it, you just get into crazy stuff where then there's like, okay, maybe there's just literally a universe where all it does is grow this crap. Because it's like, dude, we figured out and realized that there's gonna be multiple places that are just
draining it,
gonna be sucking it dry, and like every other day is gonna be, oh my god, if we don't fucking rush over here, everything's gonna die as we know it, because Johnny Asshole again over here in fucking universe XYZ is being a cunt of a person. And so they're just like, I guess instead of smoking it and having fucking fun too, we're just gonna be growing it and dishing this shit out everywhere, because that's all we can do.
We're just gonna make it rain spores. Yeah, you're and you know what? Up until this ship was made, all that balance was there. You're absolutely right. There's one universe that doesn't even know about the spores. There's plenty. There's other ones that are sucking it crazy. So it's kind of balancing out until this ship was made, and whatever is happening on this ship to power this ship is brand new to the mycelial network, and it is not doing well.
Yeah, and that's even fucking more bonkers.
Yeah, so it's pretty much one of those all life or death situations, which is, hey, it wouldn't be Star Trek if we weren't going to end an entire civilization or the universe or everything in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, because God knows they're comfortable with doing that already.
Right. Let's not set the level too high the first season. We're talking about a total annihilation of every living thing in every universe that is imaginable.
Yeah, because they've already dropped the planet, so they're okay with the totally rearranging universes as we know it.
Yep. So let's see what happens next. Lorca is Lorca calls up. So Lorca gets on the intercom from Stamets's lab or wherever they are at, and okay, look, we have numerous times on this show, if you are a long-time listener, Corey and I don't like to get political, okay? We will not hesitate to share our distaste in things that are currently happening, people who are currently running countries. I'm not a fan of, the current president. I'm not going my way to lose my mind on Twitter every other second about what's going on, but I don't care for him as a human being, as an individual, or as a leader of the free world. So, but I also can't help, if you are a Trump fan, which if you are, hey, good on you, bro, because it's a free world and you can do whatever you want to and like whoever you want to. But when I read the speech that Lorca gives on this address to the ship, you can tell where the writers were going with it. And he literally says, because he's talking to Giorgio, I think he even calls her Pippa, which I thought was kind of cool, like a little pet name for her, because they used to be like pals. Yeah. He said, "You let alien races spill over the borders, flourish in our backyard, then have the gall to incite rebellion. The Terrans need a leader who will preserve our way of life and our race." And I was like, it's not real hard to tell what they were talking about, like what they're taking a stab at, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I was so sick on Sunday, it didn't cross my mind. But when I rewatched it on Monday, I was like, oh man, when I'm rewatching it and reading the subtitles, I was like, holy shit, I've seen this before. Like, I've heard this before. Like, this is like verbatim. So yeah, you can definitely tell that the crew that the writing staff is taking, hey, you've got an audience and you want to show, and in true Star Trek fashion, Star Trek, especially in the original series, the original series was a little more graceful about it, as opposed to on the nose like this speech was. But they were able to hold a mirror up to the present day people who are watching the show, so you can look at you can look at yourself, at the world around you and things that are going on, and it would address issues that were going on in present day 1960s type stuff, and sneak in a point of view about it or an idea about what was going on, or and it was very, very sneaky for its day and time. This one was a little more on the nose, but I see what they're doing, and even if we, it's how Lorca is. It gives you it tells you exactly what Lorca is aiming for. Yeah.
No, I mean, I get that, but I think it's also like right now, if you're a writer, and let's face it, this president is so polarizing, either direction, like I don't think anybody can write anything right now without being somewhat political about it. Like because there's no middle ground right now. It's either fucking far right, far left. There's no whatever in the middle. So when you do a whole rebellion type thing, man, like in this kind of climate, it's always going to hit home.
True.
Like it's kind of mocking and or calling out, or however you want to view it, really. Mm-hmm. Our current, president
situation.
Yeah, and situation. But I also think if we weren't in this climate, it would just be another like, oh, hey, yeah, somebody wanted the power trip, kind of thing. So,
right. Well, to be honest, we've heard this speech before, but rarely could you have gone, oh, yeah, our president says shit like that. That has never happened. At least.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
That's the part that it's like, yeah, we know exactly what he's talking about, but rarely were we like, oh, our president says that, but that's exactly what it says now. So that's just the situation we're in. You can't deny that. I can literally match this to a speech, to numerous things he says on Twitter. I follow him on Twitter just to watch. I want to know when the bombs are coming, so I follow him on Twitter. And, just want to make sure I know when hey, look, we live too close to D.C., man. Like, we need to, I can take the back roads and get to Kentucky pretty quick. We'll be all right. But I just need to make sure I'm on the road when it drops. Got to stay in front of the fallout.
I'm gonna have to look how quickly Fallout moves then. From when bomb drops till when fallout radiation won't catch you in a speeding car.
You're telling me you haven't been a boring day at work and been like, I wonder. I think years ago I did the math. I was like Googling it. Like, okay, so a standard nuclear does this, and then this part's vaporized, and then this part is blown up, and then this part is radiated. Like, I was like, oh wait, but then we would have to, yeah, I've done the math before, but I don't know what it is anymore. We're far enough away that we may be okay if we start booking it like out the back roads, man. Head to the country, go inland.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely wouldn't be heading towards the coast.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, not in any direction.
Okay, so while we're here, I wanted to ask you if you have seen the new poster for the next Purge movie for this year.
No.
Have you watched the other 3 Purge movies?
No.
Have you watched any of them?
Parts of all of them.
Okay, I know I've watched the first one. I think I've watched the second one. I have not watched the third one. So this will be news to you too. So they dropped it, and it only dropped a couple days ago, I think. It's a prequel. So the number 4, because they always put it on July 4th every year. The movie is like the new Saw, but for July 4th. This one is called The First Purge, but the movie poster is literally a white background and a red baseball cap with white lettering that says The First Purge. Like the Make America Great Again hats. And I'm like, man, we can't pick a show right now. American Horror Story Cult was all political nonsense, and now this show has a little bit of political stuff thrown into it. Yeah, it's just, we can't get away from it, man. We try not to talk politics.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Like, even in the dumbest of, like, slapstickish Three Stooges comedy, like right now, like on TV, like it's gonna have some political message in it, and especially since it's just such a hot topic all the time.
It sells. People will tune in to see what you said about it, right?
Yeah, hence why we're talking about it.
Oops. We fell into the trap.
Yeah.
So let's move on. So in his speech to Giorgio, he also calls to the rest of the crew, if you take my side, join our cause, rebel against, the emperor, blah, blah, blah. And so Giorgio is in her throne room. She turns to her loyal guys and he doesn't control this ship. I do. We take the fight to him, and they all move off to then have the next epic battle of the episode, which is the hallway fight, which is the only way I named it a hallway fight. So Giorgio and her crew, I'll try to set the scene for you, even though I know we've all watched it who's listening to this. So Giorgio comes in first, which is good on her as a leader. If you're going to be running the show, you're the first boot on the ground, baby. So she enters the hallway first. The rest of her crew moves in around her. Somebody appears at the far end of the dark hall. It's Awozakun? I can't pronounce her name. I wrote it down because I felt like I needed someone. On one of the articles I was reading was like, when have you ever had 3 women on the bridge of any Star Trek show, like, all the time? But they're like, name them. I'm like, I don't know. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I really wish I knew their names. It's the one with the metal and the white on her face. It's the black girl, and it's the redheaded girl with the thing on the side of her face. Like, I don't know their names, but I will at some point, I'm sure. So anyways, I'm sorry. I just don't know their names. I don't know the guys' names either. So give me a break. Like,
I don't know anybody's name. So
yeah, they're definitely,
that's fine.
they're there, and they'll be known later, I'm sure, when they have like the Reese episode. I know the Asian guy who's at Tactical's name is Reese. Like, they'll have a Reese episode. They'll have, because Star Trek tends to, as the show goes on, you get episodes that focus on some of the external, not the external, but like the outlier of the main core group, and you get their specific episodes. That's why we know Tilly, because Tilly had like her episode that we all learned about her the entire episode. Plus, she's like awesome. The whole show's about her, and it was further confirmed this episode that she's actually the main character, and this is all a ruse for later on. I'm just saying. We'll get to that in a minute. So they're like,
we always do.
We always get to it every episode, and I'll do it every episode because it's true. Giorgio asks her, why are you still alive if all of your entire crew that was, going to find Lorca got slaughtered? And she goes, he let me live just because he wanted you to know he was here. And then she gets fucking vaporized. And then like all the little red dots at the other end like pop up and all the phasers click on for Lorca's team. And that was wild.
Yeah, no, it was cool. I was like, oh, snap. There was nothing left. Like just particles.
Nope.
That was cool. I was really expecting just like well, for one, I wasn't actually expecting her to get shot. Like, I was expecting all of a sudden, like, Giorgio to be just surrounded, you know? And then that girl got torched. I don't know how else to put it, man. Like, she got lit up in one single shot, and it wasn't like she got hit and then it was like a trickle-down effect of her disappearing. It was like one shot, instantaneous, a bunch of little squares.
Poof.
Yeah.
Right. It reminded me
of... poof is the perfect sound effect for it because there's no other way to really describe what happened. Like, she fucking poofed, man.
Yeah. It reminded me of, if you go back to our other reviews other than Star Trek, we reviewed Bright, and there's that scene in Bright where the guy grabs the wand and explodes, and he's like, where'd that guy go? He goes, I think we're breathing him. Like, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, but even that guy, like, charged up.
True.
And then he was like, bow. Like, this was just like, boop, boop.
Yeah, she just popped. Just
done. Yeah, that's it.
Like a balloon. Like, pff, yeah, you're gone. That's it. Which is actually nicer because in the old Star Trek, in the previous iterations of Star Trek, you mostly see these kind of deaths from like a Klingon blaster rifle or a Klingon phaser or a Romulan phaser if it's set to that. And it's usually a slow, like it hits you and you have time to scream as you're dissolving. So this is actually a little more...
very agonizing shot. Yeah, this thing was like... I really don't know how to describe it other than poof. Like, poof was a good word for it.
You got it. She poofed. And then Lorca's team all kicked on their weapons, let her know he was there, and then they started firing. And Giorgio, being as awesome as she is, has a containment field up in front of her, so it's just bouncing off of it. So they're just standing there waiting, and she uses her awesome, like... her bracelet thing that she has all of her cool controls on.
Yeah, her little Predator gizmos and gadgets over there.
That's exactly. I was trying to think, what can I compare it to? It's like either the thing from Fallout, the video game, like
the Pit-Boy,
or it's like like the Predator's arm thing, and she cranks up two remote cannons that just like waste half the guys who are standing in the middle of the hallway for Lorca's crew. Lorca and Landry, of course, take cover nicely. And then they take out the cannons. He tosses a...
Yeah, dude, how easy was that for them? He's just like, yo, 2, right? Got it, yeah. Pew, pew. And then they just blew up, and I was like, I mean, I know that had to happen, but it could have at least been like 2 shots from each gun or something. I mean, they both just single-shotted it and took it out.
Right. He tosses a flash grenade, which... I mean, since we're already rolling down the things that are similar to Star Wars, it literally looks like a thermal detonator. It's silver and it's shiny, and he rolls it towards it's a flash grenade. It flashes, and then his whole crew. Well, actually, right before all that happens, after they kill the cannons, they're firing at the containment field, and Stamets is reading off like, all right, there's 25%, there's 10% left. Like, all right, the field's down. Then they all started just going at each other. Throwing the flash grenade, vaporizing. One crew had it set to like the blow hole through folks. The other crew had it set to like popping people, to poofing people. So, I mean, people are just going, and then Giorgio kicks on a emergency transport and gets transported out of there, which, I mean, yeah, of course you do.
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
As the Emperor, like, yeah, you're gonna have a backup
plan.
Yeah, I mean,
like this isn't coming from a righteous point of view in any way, shape, or form of like a person who would ever be a martyr. So we know that like if you're running the show, you're not going down with the boat.
Right.
Like you're gonna keep afloat as long as you fucking can to hopefully have something left over.
Right. And that's what she did, and she transported out of there. So great fight, great special effects, great sound design. I mean, just a overall, like you felt the containment of the hallway, like the fact that they were just fire. I mean, you can't really miss when you're all gathered at each end of a hallway.
Yeah, and that was another thing I actually noted. In my head, I was like, you know what? This is cool that this is basically just a kill zone, and the shield was just dropped, and you're not seeing a lot of straight bullets going around people or whatever. All you're doing is seeing people die, and you're seeing a couple people who aren't the pawns moving out of the way while the faithful from each side, go at it.
Right.
But it was cool because there was no silhouettes of people dancing around bullets and shit on the
not yet. Right.
Yeah.
No one dodges a blaster shot yet, but that does happen later on. So after the fight scene, we move to Burnham is crawling through a Jeffries tube in John McClane fashion, and she's trying to hail the Discovery since they are already on their way and en route to the Charon, not knowing the situation at hand. Once again, I will give the guys, the sound design guys of this show, major credit because through all of her failed hails, they are throwing in old school hailing sound effects like no other. And it's just, it's like a warm blanket every time they turn on like an old sound effect, and they've got it they've got it added into all the new sounds, and I just love it. I'm just nerding out on it, but I'm like, the nice old school hailing sounds. It's great.
So glad you're excited by it.
I know you're not excited, but I am. When she finally gets a hold of Saru, did you catch that he called her my friend, like out of old habit, like he didn't mean to do it? Because he was like,
I totally thought he meant to do it. Like totally, like, all right, yeah, you know what? You're my friend. I said it. Like, I know we've been this back and forth stalemate bullshit, but yeah, I totally thought he meant it.
I felt it came out of like habit, like before everything that happened way back in the day, that he said it, because whether he wants to deny the fact that she is his friend and that he does care for her, he's been trying since she came back to hide that. To not show any sort of friendly affection towards her too much, because he feels like it'd be crossing a line because she did do what she did. But but I don't think anybody really gives a fuck at this point. Only he does, I would think. I still think, but I just, even if it was intentional, it's nice to see him finally like relax to her a little bit. It's like, we all know she messed up, kind of. If you all would have just listened to her, we wouldn't have had this whole situation in the first place. Just saying. If we would have just fired on the Klingon ship, we'd have been fine.
Yeah, that's true.
If we wouldn't even have we wouldn't even have a show. We wouldn't even need a show because you just fire on it, call it a day, like game over, next thing. So, I think he's softening to her a little bit, and the only reason I bring that up is because with the end of this episode, and we'll talk about it later, is are we going to are we going to have Saru as captain the whole time? Are they going to actually reinstate Burnham with what's going on and what's been done? There's a lot of questions that can be answered, and it's like, are they going to base this show around Doug Jones's character, as the captain at least? Not as they've never said that the captain's going to be the main point of view like Picard or Kirk or Sisko. Or Janeway, like they normally are. So we don't need to have a captain that's a larger than life figure like before, but are we going to want Saru as captain?
Yeah, but didn't they show us pictures of that one lady captain?
You mean the Admiral?
Yeah.
I mean, yes, but I can't imagine her taking over the ship forever. I could see her coming in and acquiring it originally because they don't know who they are, probably because the Mirror Discovery, they have got just, I cannot wait to hear that story, which we know we'll hear next episode. Like what Captain Killy did while she was in the Prime Universe.
Yeah, right. She's leading the Klingons.
Exactly, which is super hot. Just super hot.
Would Saru be the first alien captain?
Did somebody? No, not the first. I mean, because there's Vulcan captains, and that's an alien, to be completely honest.
No, but I mean for like the show that we'd like follow.
Oh, like Star Trek, like as the show? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he'd be the first alien captain.
I could see that.
Yeah, I mean, and the fact that the show isn't built around the captain like it is in other ones, I can see it being okay. And I wouldn't care as long as you just, I don't know. We'll see. I'm just kind of wondering, what are they going to, that's the hardest part is what do we do next? Like what happens next now that there is no Lorca, there is no, there's Burnham's, there's no way they're going to make her a cat. Like she's not going to be captain. They're never going to give her what rank she should have.
Yeah, maybe not right away. Not for
No.
this season, but you could definitely finish out the season where like they're like, yeah, we're reinstating you, and obviously because of your strategic decisions under fire, blah 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 blah.
We'll forget you mutinied.
Yeah, like seriously, like especially now that they know what the Cleons are all about. I mean, really, at the end of the day, they were like, that someone has to go. You know what? I mean,
She was kind of right.
if we would have just fired on them, like we wouldn't have ever been remotely in this situation right now.
Agreed. It's like Heinz. Okay, we're armchair quarterbacking. You were right. We're so sorry. Here's your commander, and it could be Saru as captain and her as commander. That could be
Well,
fun.
especially with her working under like, because she's going to work under the admiral for these next two episodes, and like once everybody kind of explains like all the crazy heroic shit she's done, like I feel like the admiral in her position could just be like, whatever the equivalent of, I don't know, their lawyers are. And just be like, this is a wash, right?
Yeah,
And
right?
like there's going to be some kind of crazy loophole.
True. During the conversation with Saru, she informs him of Lorca. And as she's telling him, Stamets is standing next to Saru, like, he puts that shit together like that. Like, he's like, oh yeah, for anybody who has not been watching this show and paying close attention, let me explain exactly what's going on. And so we're all up to speed now.
I like how they do that every so often in the show, though. It's
Right.
just kind of like, hey man, here's a quick catch up.
Right. In case you're an idiot, here's what you need to know. And now we'll move forward. Yeah. Let's see. As Stamets is putting it together, they explain to Burnham that they explained to him or her the orb / all life everywhere problem that we talked about earlier, like where everything's going to die if it continues to happen, continues to exist. And so they're like, but there's a containment field around the orb, and she's like, you leave that to me, I'll take care of it. They said that they said that it's in the throne room, the controls for the containment field, and that's where Lorca is. Actually, no, let's see. So they explain, okay, let me back up because I'm not reading my notes right. I didn't make a space where the scene shifted. Damn it. I messed it up. They explained to her the containment
you
field.
haven't fucking done this before.
I know. Is this what episode is this? Episode 2 of the Two Dads Review? Shit, man. You've done this before. She explains that she's like, I'll take down the containment field. You leave it to me. I'll let you know when we're ready to rock and roll. She even may tell him that point to stay in warp so they can't be boarded. I think that's when she tells him that. I'm pretty sure it is because he would need to know to don't jump out of warp. He's just warping in circles around the Charon right now. Like just waiting to come out of warp to like do.
Oh yeah. Cause she was like, continue to warp so you can't be boarded.
Right. So then we switch to Lorca, who is now in the throne room. He's made it to the throne room. He tells Mirror Stamets that he has outlived his benefit as opposed to how much he can trust him, and that's when we get to see the Jabba the Hutt door. They open that views right down. I mean, why the fuck is that door there other than to throw people through it?
Yeah, man. Other than like,
that's exactly what that door is for. And actually, people called it Jabba the Hutt door, but you could also call it the Moon door from Game of Thrones.
That's true.
I was like, it's a fucking moon door. It's a Jabba the Hutt door. Like it's great, and it literally its entire purpose is to intimidate people and or toss them down through.
All right, out of all the doors, out of the 3 doors you just named, which one would you actually want to like? If you had to pick one to go out of, which one would you want to go out of?
I'm gonna go with this one. Just because at least you just disintegrate. Like, I don't want to fall and splat, and I don't want to get eaten by a Rancor.
Okay, yeah, I definitely don't want to fall into, like, another giant monster's home field advantage at all. So fuck that. I don't know, dude. I don't think I want to get vaped out right away. Like, I think going from that high up, you know, you could really gather some shit before on your way out and really figure some things out. You know what I'm saying, dude? Like, anything you needed to get off your chest or just clear off your mind before you met your end, like, that's the way to go. And I feel like I would need to get some things out there before I just kind of went up.
So you're picking the moon door?
Yeah, I'm picking the moon door, man. Like, I know I'm going to have a long, excruciating death because I'm going to have a laundry list of shit that I really need to talk about.
You know what really terrifies me about that kind of a fall is like the point where you're falling for so long that you're done screaming. Like, that scares the fuck out of me.
That's awesome.
That's not awesome. Like, the fact where you're like, I've screamed and now I'm just panic attacking and just breathing and just waiting.
Dude, you know when you're like on like one of those carnival rides that comes through town and like you're riding it and it's always the one that like swirls up at the crazy G-force angle and you kind of feel like everything's going to break loose a little bit.
Or does if you're on certain ones that are in the U.S.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's that risk that you're running, but it's probably the most freed feeling you've ever had in your life. And like, I feel falling out of the moon door, like, after a certain point, man, you're just going to hit that perfect amount of like freedom. Like, you know, your impending doom's coming. You're falling. There's nothing you can do about it. Like, you're just at that moment. You're open. You're 100% clear. It's like, it'll probably be the best goddamn feeling you'll ever have in your life before. And then, boom. Then you hit some jagged rocks. You hit whatever, dude. There's some clouds going on. You're not going to see that shit coming.
Right.
Like, now the only thing that would really suck is if you jumped off at like an angle from the get-go and you just kind of clipped the very top of shit. And so you never built enough momentum to hit that bliss and you were just banging off the sides.
Just breaking as you go. Yeah, that would suck.
Yeah, so I'm saying, like, you know, aim yourself a little bit and you'll probably have like an enlightened moment before you die.
There you go. And I'm also picking this door because it's sci-fi and because of what the core of that ship was. If you're disintegrated molecularly into the mycelial core, are you really dead? Do you get absorbed into the mycelial network? Does your soul / whatever its physical counterpart is to the network, does it carry you over to there? Do you live there?
No, because that network was all like super powerful and corrupt. So basically what you do is you get thrown into your own fucking weird ass cerebral hell. Like, you ever seen fucking Bill and Ted's like Bogus Adventure?
I mean, Bogus Journey, but not for like 25 years.
But you know the whole like hell scene, I think? Like, and when that crazy ass bunny comes after him and he's like losing his mind, like, till to this day, that's like the scariest bunny that's ever been on TV.
Now I have to watch it again.
But that is going to be the weird shit you run into in that thing.
Quite possibly. I'm just saying that's the only way that we're going to possibly get Lorca back if we don't have a prime Lorca, is that if he shows up in the mycelial network and something happens there. That could be fun. But I'm pretty sure he's out. I'm pretty sure they can't afford Jason Isaacs for an extended period of time.
Yeah, he's going to be like a dude that comes back around like every so often. He'll be like fucking Sherlock Holmes' nemesis.
True. Yeah. Oh, you mean Moriarty?
Yeah.
There's a whole Moriarty plot on Next Generation.
Yeah, I know.
Do you?
It's actually, yeah. Like,
nice.
I know that.
Impressive. I am truly impressed, sir, that you know
right
the Moriarty
because they're in like the hologym thing or whatever the hell it's called.
And then you go and say some shit like that.
Like, yeah, whatever, dude. Like it was the holodeck.
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, hologym, holodeck, whatever.
What you're thinking of is Jim and the holograms. That is a completely different.
Which would make perfect sense since my daughter watches that more times than I can count, and so does my wife, for that matter.
The newest movie or the old school cartoon?
The old school cartoon.
I used to watch the fucking old school cartoon because that shit was awesome. That's Saturday morning cartoons, baby. It's whatever's on.
That's true.
It's whatever's
Saturday
on.
Morning classic.
But yeah. So that would be my pick indoors. But Mirror Stamets doesn't get to make a choice because Landry just fucking vaporizes him at the edge of the hole anyways.
Yeah, he just totally zaps him out.
Did it bother you that Landry was the same practically in both universes?
No, man, I just was like, well, just got two duds.
Yeah, right. She was for Lorca every time, anywhere, in any universe.
If there was ever meant someone to die. But I mean, I guess they've been kind of painting that kind of crap like certain people are always meant to be. So maybe like, I bet you she would be really cool if they did like past stuff on her. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like made a sideshow of her and it was all like pre-stuff. And how, like, maybe she got under, like, Lorca's, like, spell, you know, where he kind of came around a few times and, like, they did missions or whatever, you know, and then, like, she finally, like, fell under his wing. Like, I bet you she was super cool at some point.
And
But then it's like, and then she just got too caught up under fucking Lorca, and it made her just blindly dumb.
Right. And you caught that she has unreciprocated feelings for him, right? She is all about him. She is all about him and jealous of Burnham as fuck. That comes on later, and there's a really cool thing at the very end. It's like that's pretty crazy. That deals with her and Burnham and Lorca and that whole triangle there. But okay. Anyways, so Stamets gets vaporized. The next thing that happens is Burnham's moving through the hallways, all tactical like. And Lorca calls on a monitor to talk to her. I do like how at the end they say that she rerouted her signal, like where she was at talking to him, but all it took for her doing was like yanking out the cables from under the TV, and it's like, that's all it takes?
Yeah, dude, like, I didn't see... I mean, because that's what... I mean, she definitely just yanked the cables out, but I think when What's-Her-Face got to it, she... there was like a metal component on it, so I'm like, was she actually supposed to just like clip this thing on the back of it and like switch the frequencies or something like that? I was like, either way, it's way too easy for space travel stuff. I just feel like if you're in space, nothing is that easy.
Right. It's just yanking it out. We're good. Let's go. Keep going. Yeah. During Lorca's call, he's hearkening that, you know, I think he calls them like infantile ideals of the Federation. He's like, where everyone is equal. He's like, not everyone's equal. The strong will always rise. And he's like, I want it to be you and me. So he's like, I want to be emperor. I want you as my empress. So this is where Burnham first gets the idea, like, hey, I can get to him if I offer him myself. Like, this is what his end goal is, him and her on a throne at the top of the heap. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. He wants to be at the top of the food chain with his lady. And I think that's also one of the reasons, like, Burnham, like, clearly states, like, you're only getting my mind.
You can have this. You can't have none of this.
Yeah, you're not getting any part of my body.
Right. So while her and Lorca are talking, Landry, as we said, was tracking her, to subdue her and bring her in or whatever. And but she finds the signal's been rerouted and she's still in the wind, so they don't know where she is. Burnham, we find out where she went. Burnham went to, I think it's the same place they had dinner. That's her little, like, either her quarters or like her special dining area. I don't know. It's her sanctuary, she calls it. But she finds Giorgio there. They have their heart to heart. They have, and we kind of predicted this last week, a little bit. It was that those two were going to have to team up to go after Lorca. You know what I'm saying? To knock him down from whatever he was doing. We actually thought that it was going to be like her and Lorca, but then not, and then it was going to be her and Giorgio. So whatever, it's fine. But those two. I thought it was cool during this conversation that Emperor Giorgio carries the badge of her Burnham, and Burnham carries the badge of her Giorgio, like, around, and it's like that was like their bonding moment. Was like we both have our other badges, like we're Thunder buddies. So yeah, I mean that was cool. Burnham's like, I will stop Lorca. I have an idea. She tells Giorgio about the containment field plan and the fact they need to get on the bridge to disable it. because Giorgio's like, yeah, the place to disable it's like in the throne room, and she's like, I know, and we're going to give him exactly what he wants. So let's see. So that's where they end that conversation. They have their plan. They're gonna do their stuff together. So it was it was a break in the action. It was a little bit talky, but it's good to see those two, like that bond between those two, even though they're not the other's counterpart, that they're definitely on the same mindset and the same, like they still care about each other, whether it's just for the mirror version of the other, but they still, have found a way to quickly and easily come together.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of, like, you gotta have faith going on. Like, obviously, like, they're really illustrating that point, too, I think, with the mirror universe of how, like, they're like, look, dude, certain people are always gonna cross paths. They're just meant to.
Well, I like that during their heart-to-heart, I believe Burnham says something to the effect of, both versions of me betrayed both versions of you, and I don't want that to happen again. Like, I'm not going to let that happen again.
Yeah.
So, which is cool, because the fact that she said it there means when it's stated again later on, it doesn't have any sort of psychological effect on Giorgio, because Lorca says it to her later on the episode in the throne room, and like the fact that Burnham's already assured her, I've got this, she's like, I understand, and this isn't going to happen, and it makes sure that any sort of swaying that could happen by Lorca's words.
They're like, I know I may die, but it's not because you screwed me over.
Right. Correct. So, all right. So the next thing is we are back in engineering, and this is what I titled the here's the problem briefing. Like, this is just like, okay, we know we need to destroy this thing, but here's the problem. Our regular photon torpedoes don't work. What we're going to have to do is load all of our spores back here, the last of our supply, into the photon torpedoes, combine their technobabble, and then when they explode, technobabble, and everything's fine. Well, but actually,
everything's
not fine, because we're all going to die because we can't get home. We probably won't even escape the blast. But what was really cool, like the tactical guy, the Asian dude, Reese is his name. I love that he does, like, this is starting to show like how this crew is set in the way, and they're like, this is what we do. We are Starfleet. This is what needs to happen, and we're going to get it done whether or not it costs our life. He doesn't even hesitate. Like, when all that shit's laid out in front of him, he's like, okay, we need to be close for a clear shot. Just give me the shot and I'll take it. Like, he's like, I'm ready to do this shit.
Yeah, that guy's like,
I'll push the button.
I got the surest aim in the land.
That's
Don't
right.
care.
Fly me right through that son of a bitch, and I will blow it up.
Yeah, he's like steady trigger fingers over here.
Right. But then we also learned that the energy that will be expelled by the explosion, the shields will not hold, and the Discovery will be vaporized. At this point, and I know I'm like loving on Doug Jones this episode, but it's with good intentions. He gives a fantastic like speech to the crew. Just this like overwhelmed, like you're saying, they're like, yeah, let's all go fucking die. Like, I'm ready, man. Let's do this shit. Because he says Discovery is no longer.
Part of me was waiting for like when everyone like turned around and left, like his tentacles just to go like fucking bonkers out the back, like just like oh shit.
Right. He says some great stuff. He says, Discovery is no longer Lorca's. She's ours. We consider this our maiden voyage. And he also says, I will not accept a no-win scenario, which, is one of those things that is kind of like throughout all of Star Trek, because you have the test at Starfleet Academy, which is the Kobayashi Maru, which you see talked about in every series, every movie. It's not a hologram, but it's a training simulation of a no-win scenario where there's no way you're going to complete the mission without dying, or it's just it's to show the instructors how the cadets deal with impending doom that cannot be. There's no win. There's no way of getting out of it correctly. So it's just the way he says that is so like not Starfleet, because they know that at some point there are no win scenarios. Like, I won't accept a no win scenario, which is cool because our girl saves the day later on. But we'll get to that in a minute. So next, after the rising speech by Saru, the next scene, Landry informs Lorca that oh, that's right. So they've killed everybody who hasn't sworn fealty to them. So it's like, hey, join our cause. You'll be great. Or we're just going to fucking shoot you. So,
yeah, they're like, hey, come this way. No? Oh, okay. We're going to shoot you in the back. That's fine.
We're going to poof you.
And then we're just going to walk over your corpses.
You're getting poofed. And you're getting poofed. But you're with us? Come on. Everybody else with us? Okay, good. I trust you guys.
Yeah. All it takes is just to kill one guy once on each floor, and everyone's like, oh, shit.
I'm in. Hand me a right.
I'm your boy. What's up,
They announced that she's here, which they're talking about Burnham with Giorgio. So she mentions Burnham talks to Lorca and says, I don't want to see any more of my crew die. I like how she gives like Giorgio like a half strength like Vulcan neck pinch to like sit her ass on the ground. Like, she doesn't like push her down. She just squeezes her neck and like Giorgio collapses like, to her knees. So it's kind of like a little half strength, like, get down type thing.
Yeah.
She loves that Vulcan neck pinch.
And I was like, man, the Empress took that pretty well there. Cause that's gotta be like to act that out. Like, when you're already kind of stuck in the frame of like, no one tells me what to do, like I imagine like, in the real scenario, like being in a situation like that where you're like, it goes against every grain you've ever had to like bow, or whatever. So to me, it was really cool because it was like, one, it was forceful, right? And so I was like, man, that's like the most insulting thing that's ever happened to her, and she just has to sit there and take that shit right now.
True, and it was a Vulcan neck pinch because she didn't like kick out the back of her knee, and you didn't see her arm like force her shoulders down. She just put her arm on her shoulder and moved, and like Giorgio buckled, and I was like, damn, that girl gave her like a little bit of a little tiny Vulcan neck pinch. It's like, shit, girl, you're just going right to it. Little baby pinch. And the premise of her bringing Giorgio to him is that she knows that for him to gain full control of the Empire, he has to kill the Emperor. So this is why I'm bringing her to you. She also says, I offer myself for the crew of the Discovery. He's like, you can have... And when she says that, did you catch Lorca's like creepy inhale?
Yeah, dude. Well, he's been creepy this whole time, man. The more he got into this episode, I was like, dude, you're getting ruthless, but you're also getting real weird with Michael, man. Like, real weird all the time.
Like, you're like 20 years her senior, bro. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but like, she says, I offer you my mind, or I offer you me, and he's like, and at the same time they switch to Landry, and Landry looks at him like, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like, dude, really? Like, I'm right here, and I am all.
Did you just gasp?
Did you just
what?
Did you just like? Are your pants getting shorter? Are your? Come on, man. It's and then I think at that point she goes, but I'm only offering you my mind. And he's like, I'll take what I can get. He's like, I don't give a shit. He's like, that's fine.
Yeah, he's under the false impression that he's like, I'll work her down slowly.
That's right.
I'm like, dude. Nothing on you would work by the time she would ever cave in.
Hey, it's the future, man. You never know. There could be all kinds of stuff.
I don't want to know.
Right. So Giorgio says to him, she said something to the effect of, I'm destined to kill you. And Lorca said, that would be an impressive trick. And I just thought that was a cool interaction between the two of them, considering how the rest of the episode turns out.
Yeah, that was a kind of a funny calling the kettle black moment, and then also of like, got what you deserve.
Right, you shouldn't. Don't be saying what's going to happen every time, man.
Yeah, you keep fucking trying to call that shit every time, dude. It's bound to go wrong once, But I think they summed it up kind of well with those two, though. Like in the short interaction, you got to see them together. Like you could tell that they were buds at one point, as
Right.
far as buds in that whole culture go.
Right.
And then you could also easily see how Lorca was like, yeah, I want that.
I'll take that now. Thank you very much.
Yeah. You know, that's basically what it boiled down to. And he's painting that like, she's just let everybody come fucking be all buddy, and damn that, we don't do that shit. You know, like, but of course he puts a nice little spin on it.
Right. Exactly. So, we leave the throne room, in the very heightened state that it is right now, and we're back on Discovery. They're still at warp, flying circles around the Charon, and lo and behold, who discovers a way out? Cadet Tilly. So she proposes that when they explode the mycelial energy, that if they go to warp right away, that the warp bubble can be a secondary level of protection, along with the shields. They can pretty much like ride the wave out and not be damaged by the explosion. And in the meantime, the spores that will be disseminated from the explosion will power their chamber. Stamets can be in there, and he can bada boom, bada bing, find the way home, and, you know, Bob's your uncle. So she saves the day, and everything is good to go. Tilly's going to get everybody home, and she's awesome. And that's all I got to say about this. And she does it. Stamets helps her kind of get to the full conclusion. And then like, she's like, the whole mycelial network is going to be opening up as you're in there. She's like, it's going to be, he goes, yeah, it's going to be hard.
Yeah, dude, I love his little dickish moment right there. It was like, yeah, no shit. Like we're just going to call it what it is. It's going to be hard.
Right. So the Discovery, I haven't written Disco because I was tired of typing Discovery every time. They have their plan. They drop out of warp, and Lorca's like speaks to the crew, like they hail the Charon, and Lorca is talking to Saru. He's talking to the crew. He's like, he calls like Saru, you know, I forget what he said about Saru, but he talks about the crew, and he's like, you guys, I see the finest set of, you know, soldiers I've honed in my time with you. And he's, you know, it's one of those like, you know, it's good to know you. Nice to see you. You know, glad I could be with you type speeches.
Yeah, it was like, you know, if I knew remotely any of you guys would like kind of come rocket this way, like we would be cool. And he even says that, you know, like, but it was definitely one of those speeches of like, hey man, we just hit that fork in the road, buddy. It wasn't me, it wasn't you. We just got to go.
Yeah, he said there are plenty of you that if I thought at an instant I could break your cult-like following of the Federation, I would gladly have you on my you know, my team. And I just love the way he put that. Like he's like, you know, what you do is great, but it's like a cult. Like you're just kind of fucking weird to me. Yeah,
and it's also kind of like in the same minute, it's like, yo, homie, you literally have a cult following.
Right, like you're like
pot, you're a cult leader.
Pot, kettle, pot. Like you're, yeah, you know. So yeah,
like, goddamn, man. Yeah, that was kind of funny and ironic. I laughed.
It's just great, just how goddamn cocky he is. He just thinks he is everything. I mean, this is a plan that he's had. Nothing has gone wrong in his plan for 1 year and 121 or whatever fucking number I said earlier. Like this is his plan.
Oh yeah. He hasn't ran into like really one major problem in over a year.
Right, this guy.
Like, that's just absurd, dude. That guy's like just riding the golden wave, and I mean, come on, dude. After a certain point, you know that shit's gonna go wrong somewhere. Like you know you can't be this cocky this late in the game.
Right. Don't put all your money into Bitcoin now. Like, this is not when you do it. Like,
right, yeah.
The bottom's going to drop out of it as soon as you do this. You know you should have been playing craps the whole time this was happening because you've been rolling 7s and 11s every time, but not now. Not when you're at the very end. You know that's when everything goes wrong. Saru shuts him down in his speech fairly sternly, which is nice. He speaks to Burnham. She says, I'm right where I need to be, Saru. This is my place. And Saru says, that's all I need to see. And Jason Isaacs, God bless this man, he is fucking fantastic. Like, I just like when there's good actors. Because I watch a lot of TV, and there's a lot of, like, actors on television. But like when she says that, he's like, yeah, she is. And then Saru's like, that's all I needed to see. And he cuts the communication, and Lorca's face, just for a hot second, you see him realize
it shifts. Like
everything.
You could see the gears spinning, like, something's about to go down.
He's like, fuck.
Yep.
And that was great. And then that is when what I have written here, earlier I wrote hallway fight, I write throne room fight. So the Discovery fires on the bridge. Saru is just like, they fire on the bridge. He's like, hey, you watch that friggin' deflector shield. You do that. He's just cranking out the orders. I mean, it was great. And the fight scene, once again, choreography is amazing. It's high impact. It's visceral. There's a lot of like oh fuck moments, and I've jotted a couple down here. So during the fight, Giorgio shoots a dude like up under his chin, like with his phaser. Like puts that shit.
That was, yeah.
Oh, that was
like, awesome.
The best shit. I was like, oh, girl, like what did you like? Shit. And honestly, like when they went like back and forth with the mace, remember her mace from last episode or the episode before when she cracks Lorca in the face with it to get him to kneel? Like they were tossing it back and they were tossing it between each other. I was like, so while we're on the Star Wars kick, like, did somebody that was choreographing this thing, like, have anything to do with the throne room fight scene from Last Jedi? Because there's a little bit of, like, tossing lightsabers back and forth to each other and shit. I was like, I'm just saying, it kind of has its same cues from that fight scene, just a little bit. Also, I want to bring up that Michelle Yeoh is 55. She is whooping ass. Like, that is her doing those stunts, and that is her doing those kicks.
That's awesome.
And, she pulls that kick, like, where he has her from behind, and she does
dude, she dropped that fucking high leg, whatever you want to call it, man. Like,
right in his face.
Oh, yeah. I was like, how he's even still standing. And also, like, when Lorca headbutted her, I was like, how she's even still standing after that headbutt. Like, good Lord.
Jason Isaacs, in an interview, compared him and her in their choreography. He said he felt like a drunk hippo fighting against Michelle Yeoh, because she's just doing circles around him. Because she's still so athletic, and he's like, I barely keep my shit together. He's like, I have no clue how she does it. So one of the crazy things you see, so Burnham's already turned on Lorca, but his care for her is still there. So when it's down to just him and Giorgio and her and Landry has Burnham against a pillar at a disadvantage, like ready to finish her, and Lorca grabs the sword and slashes at Landry and injures Landry to get her off of Burnham. And I'm like, I watched the first time and I was like, wait a second. And then the second time I was like, that was blatantly like, get off my girl.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Yeah. He was definitely like, because whatever plan he had for her, he thought is far more important than anybody else in the world.
And he can't let her go. He can't let the idea of him and her being together go to the point where even when it's down, when he's knocked out Giorgio in her throne, like she falls on her throne and she's unconscious, or, quote unquote unconscious. She's definitely disabled for a second, and he's fighting Burnham. Burnham's fighting. He's like an adult trying to like, keep your, like, to calm your kid down who's just losing it. He's like trying to hold her, and he's just blocking and trying to hold her. She goes for her Vulcan neck pinch again, and he's just blocking it and trying to hold her, and she gets the upper hand, pulls a phaser on him. And this is the part where she's like, you should have told us, you should have told me, we would have helped you. Like, that's what Starfleet does. Like, if you said, I'm from Mirror Universe, I need to get back, we would have helped you.
Yeah, we would have found a way to just get your ass back there and let you go about your bullshit.
Right, and she goes, and that's why I'm not going to kill you, because that's what Starfleet's all about. But Giorgio on the other, from behind him, but I will.
Oh yeah, man, and that sword just straight through his back.
Like that chest plate looked cool, but apparently it was just kind of for show, and it didn't matter because it was coming from the other side anyways.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think the chest plate was just leather in the back.
Right? It's like, no, it's cool. It can cut through here. And then we get the opening of the Jabba the Hutt door, and she kicks his ass through it, and he falls the distance to the core and is torn apart into a billion little microscopic pieces of Lorca. He poofs very slowly.
Yeah. Yeah, he does.
And I don't know why I heard this, but I swear to God, there was a TIE fighter sound effect in his scream as he was going down. Like it sounded like a TIE fighter. And then it ended up in a scream. And I'm not trying to put Star Wars shit in this. I'm just saying there was like the sound effect. I think it was meant to sound more like the sound, like, you know, in Matrix when he first gives him the pill and the metallic mirror like overtakes his body and his scream turns into like into that like digital noise.
Sound,
I think it's what it was trying to be, but I swear to God, it was sectioned from a TIE fighter. Just saying. That's all.
I'll have to go back and listen to that.
It starts as a TIE fighter and ends as him screaming. So it goes the other direction. It's weird.
Okay, gotcha.
So, he's dead. Everybody's dead in the throne room. It's Giorgio and Burnham. The people start banging on the door. Giorgio, like, she softens. She's back to, like, you know, Mama Bear. She's like, go, live. I have no future here. I'm going to hold these guys off. You get on your ship. Get the fuck out of here. You know, let's, you know, go do your thing. You know, have a nice life. Go find your way home and live is what she tells her. And so Burnham hails the Discovery with the communicator because they couldn't lock onto her originally or they would have grabbed her right there. They get a lock. And of course, as we've seen before with other things in this episode, if you grab onto somebody else while you're in transport, they're coming with you. So just as Giorgio's fighting off the guys coming through the door, Burnham grabs her and they both transport to the Discovery safely.
Yeah, because I always thought they're always like, how many for transport? And they're like, 2, 1, 35 or some shit like that.
Right. Well, it's usually for safety reasons. That's how they're supposed to do it. But sometimes you just got to do what you got to do.
That's true.
The pattern buffer will fix all that in transport. You're fine.
Gotcha.
You're not going to appear in someone else's butt. Like it's just not going to happen. I love that. Like, is that when Giorgio says, "What did you do? Like, what have you done?" Like when they materialize.
She was like, "What have you done to me?"
Yeah, it's like I don't know. Saved your fucking life.
Yep.
I mean, we may still
kept you breathing.
Right. We may still die. We're not sure this plan's going to work, so you may just vaporize somewhere the fuck else. Like, how about a thank you, ma'am, or something? A little bit of something. Come on. So, anyways, we're back on the bridge. Saru calls a black alert. They put that thing in full throttle and like flip a U-turn. Like they fly like through it, like flip a U-turn, and then start heading right for that core. Landry wakes up, I guess, from being backslashed by Lorca. She's checking
Yeah, I really thought she was dead.
Yeah, I mean, she just kind of fell over or something. I don't know what happened. I forget how she got the slash hurt her. I didn't think it put her out of commission, but whatever. Tactical Officer Reese, he fires. He hits the spore core. They hit warp. And the spores start populating the spore booth. Stamets cranks it up. Now, during the whole, Stamets is trying to sort through the whole network, and you're seeing the shots of, the crew and engineering and on the bridge and engineering. Did you catch a couple times where the sparks were going up? Like where they, instead of falling, they were rising?
Yeah, I noticed they were looking weird, and I just thought that was just kind of some camera angles going on and whatnot.
Oh, they were definitely falling up. So I'm guessing that's more to do with some sort of part of with the time travel stuff that we're about to find out, or if it's a gravitational thing, but then that would just be the sparks and not the people, which is weird. So I'm going to say time travel. So time was also being a little bit to steal from Doctor Who, a little timey-wimey, and kind of just kind of forward or back. It was one of those things.
We don't really still understand time, so here's just some odd shit that time can do.
Exactly. Look, here's sparks going upwards, but it happened a couple times, and it's very interesting to watch. Culber, then Stamets hears Culber. Conversation happens real shortly, and he reminds him just to open his eyes, and he sees the clearing in the forest, which he's been saying for episodes about the clearing. That's how they go. They being them on that ship, I'm guessing. That's how they go.
Yeah.
It has to be. That's how they go. So, they come out on the other end, on the other side. And as everything is kind of calming down and everybody realizing they're not dead, a single solitary spore lands on Tilly's shoulder. And it even changes to green, which I don't know if that even matters, but it does change to, it does land on her shoulder. There's no fucking way that giant slowed scene was not important. So Tilly is special that is meant to symbolize that she is special to something, whether it be the show, the spores, if the actual mycelial network chose her, is she the next mycelial Jesus? I don't know. But she's what she is fucking goddamn important to this show, which is exactly what we've been saying every podcast for 12 podcasts of this show. So anybody who is doubting whether or not Tilly is a main cast, if not the lead of the show, just in hiding, there you go. There you go. The spore.
All right, man. I'll take it.
I mean, the last time we saw a close-up of a shoulder with spores is when we initially meet Stamets, and he brushes it off his shoulders, as he's coming out of the spore, thing. I don't know if that has nothing to do with it. It's just weird that it was both a shoulder shot. But Tilly, next, and they mention it in the after trek. They asked the writer, what's with the spore on Tilly's shoulder? And he's like, just wait for season 2. Now that right there is the answer I want to hear from the writer. Remember how I was bitching last episode? And I don't like when you lie to me and you tell me one thing in an interview just to throw me off. If it's something cool, just say, I'm not going to talk about it. Cause it's going to be awesome next season, or it's going to be awesome next episode. Just wait. I'm not going to answer that question.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
he said,
I understand.
Wait till season 2. And I was like, fuck yeah. Tilly for president. Let's fucking do this. I'm ready to rock and roll. So, Stamets immediately comes out of the chamber. He's like, Tilly, find out where and when we are, which is, I love that, that adding that to the line. You're like, ooh, shit, when could we be? This could be all sorts of crazy. So checking the star charts and all the other crap and updating all their stuff. We find out that they have hit the exact spot they left from, but they have overshot by 9 months.
Yeah. So they went into the future.
But just a little bit in the future, which, you could have jumped. They could have, if you're going to, they could have done a lot of stuff with, if they're going to time travel, they could have taken the easy way out and gone somewhere weird so it wouldn't mess with the timeline anymore and we would never know about the discovery, et cetera, et cetera. But they didn't. They only took you 9 months into the future. And as they're all, the equivalent of plugging in the internet and getting all your new Microsoft updates, they're updating all of their shit and they're looking at the war map, and it goes from a nice break of red and blue to pretty much just all red, just Klingons everywhere. And, so apparently according to the star chart, the Klingons have pretty much won the war.
Yeah. No, they own space. Yeah.
Space is ours. In fact, we're not calling it space anymore. We're calling it something we can't pronounce. But yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right. And that's where we end episode 13. And we do see in the trailer for next episode that they are pretty much immediately boarded or another ship shows up with its phasers armed and its goddamn, shields up, and they're like, what's going on? And they get boarded by the Admiral and Sarek. And and they just pretty much take control of the entire ship. Like it's great. The next episode's going to be so tense, and so like just the finding out what's happened is going to be real cool next episode.
Yeah. No, it's going to be it's going to be another fun episode.
Yeah. And honestly, there's not a lot for this, but I was thinking about doing a section of this at the end of this podcast called "Shit That's Gonna Be Weird for Giorgio," because she's now in the Prime universe, has no knowledge of it, and the first thing she's going to run into, if she didn't notice from the hail back and forth earlier, is that the captain of the ship she's on, she has eaten his kind.
Yep, that's very true. I don't think she'll care about that at all, though.
Oh, I think it will be the first thing out of her mouth. Like, you're being run by food, like it's like cattle, like running your ship. Like it'll be. It's one of those secrets that we know is going to come out between Burnham and Saru, the fact that she's eaten Kelpian.
I don't know, man. I don't think so.
Yeah, well, like last week you said, like there's a lot of shit she's taken to the grave. Yeah, and that's going to be, if she can help it, that's going to be one of them.
Yeah, I don't think that's ever going to come up.
Oh, come on. Come on. You know that's going to come up.
Nope.
Just when their friendship is at its perfect point.
Nah, it's too it's too cheesy of a way out for the show.
Okay. Well, yeah, okay. You just hold on to that thought for later on down the road. Trust me. It will come up. It will be an issue. If it's not an issue, next episode. So, anyways, yeah, so that's the show. And that's this show. That's this podcast for this time. Yeah, we're not quite at the 2-hour mark, but we're still pretty high up there. But, people know what they're getting into here. Yeah,
man. I think they understand what we're all about at this point in time.
Before we go, Corey, what's your score for the episode?
I'd give it an 8.5. No, 8.7.
Okay.
Almost, it was borderline almost a 9, but I gotta stop it just a little short. And only because, I still thought you could have gave me a little more, some of the bigger explosions weren't as cool as I thought they were going to be.
Right.
Right? Like, when the core was going to, be, annihilated, it was more here's the window of the ship. I was like, nah, man, I want to see I want to be the guy that looks back. I want to see the explosion. It wasn't as impressive, but just, it was little stuff like that where I was like, if I'm going to knock you for something, might as well be that.
Let's see. What did I have to complain about this episode? What did I bitch about today?
Not a whole lot. Nothing that I really recall.
I don't remember it either. I'm going to give it a 9.2. I think it had a little bit of everything and a lot of bit of, I like the action. I love the action of Star Trek in this day and age, like what special effects can do. And it makes it, you got people poofing, you got, flash grenades and shields and all kinds of cool shit, and moon doors / Jabba the Hutt doors. And, you got sword fights and stab people through the fucking heart. I mean, shit. It's great. And I can't fault it. The only reason I didn't give it even a higher score is because a couple of things we talked about were a little on the nose. It was a little bit, okay, I understand an homage, but you're blatantly ripping off exactly what happened in the show, the movie that you loved or whatever.
Yeah, right. I know you were trying to write it in there, man, but damn, dude, if you just didn't just change the names and to protect the innocent, they even joked about it on the guy that runs Mark Mara. Is that his name? The guy that runs the After Trek. He was like, it'd have been great if she was crawling through Jeffrey's tube, come on out to the mirror universe, have a good time, it'll be fine. The thing from Die Hard. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a few things that are a little bit, we understand exactly what you were going for. You pretty much just hit us in the face with it. But it was fucking awesome, because Die Hard is fucking awesome.
That's true.
So I'll take it.
Can't wait for them to reboot that series.
Who do you want to play John McClane?
I don't care.
You're The Rock. No, he's getting a little, no, he was kind of already old, though.
No, I want him, if they're going to do it, man, it's got to be someone in the same, body mold, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can't make it The Rock because The Rock just looks like he could do that. Like, that was one of the things that made John McClane like an utter badass was he was just the average cop.
Right.
And then he had to reach above and beyond and become above average for one fucking day with no shoes. Right?
No shoes walking through glass.
Yeah. So, like, it's just the proof that every man can do it. So, you know, like, I need somebody in that, like, and they could be fit today. You know what I'm saying? Like, they could be fit.
It needs to be one of those actors who's
they
like,
can't be jacked.
Right. It needs to be one of the actors who isn't jacked, but like started as like kind of heavy and then got like thin, but not like jacked. So who's that right now? Like, maybe like Zach Galifianakis, like without the beard. Like he's lost a lot of weight, but he's not jacked.
No, I mean, like, you need a dude that, like, what was the actor who played Quicksilver? Not,
Oh, shit. The Witch Quicksilver. There's been two.
Well, that's what I'm
the
saying.
The guy from American Horror Story?
Not Evan Peters.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that
but
dude,
the other
I don't know
guy,
his
like,
name.
because before his movie Kick-Ass, like, in his first one, he was, like, really skinny, and then he put on weight because he'd been a superhero. Moonlight is
Right.
super, so obviously he was going to get bigger. But, like, he got too big. But if you take, like, just a little bit of that, like, leanness off of him and say, like, let him eat a pizza once in a fucking while, like, I think a dude like him, like, would be, like, perfect for it. Because I don't want, like a well-known actor guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want a guy who, like, you respect because they've done some kind of oddball shit. Like, oh my God, what the fuck's his name? Remember Nicolas Cage and Matchstick
Yes.
The guy that plays with him, that is his buddy. And it's gonna bother me because he's super awesome, and I should know his name.
Well, I will cut out the pause while I look this up.
Oh my God, what is it? It bothers me that I don't know this.
Oh God, yeah, that guy. As soon as my computer wants to load.
Yeah, I love that. Oh God,
Sam
guy.
Rockwell.
Yeah.
Sam Rockwell.
Yeah, Sam Rockwell. God damn it, I love Sam Rockwell too. I apologize, Sam Rockwell.
He's really amazing.
Really bad. But like a dude like Sam Rockwell right now could play that movie.
Yeah.
Like, but it's almost weird because you almost kind of think he's in the same like age category as
Bruce Willis is right now.
You know, where he's not. But it's like you're still too old for a reboot. You know. But like but like a dude of his build, like a new up and coming guy his build, because you need somebody that doesn't also look like they're 12.
True. You don't. Yeah, that's the problem with people who are in their 20s right now. They've been playing teenagers like for the past 10 years, and all we think of you is as teenagers because you don't really, your face doesn't really change that much.
Well, what was the dude from The Office that just came out with that war movie, and he like got a grizzly beard and put on like 20 pounds worth of muscle, and like he fucking got all went from baby face to roughed up and did it quite well.
Didn't he? Wasn't he in the?
And so did like what was it? Chris Evans in Guardians of the Galaxy. You know, like
yeah. I mean, I would say that. Yeah, but even Chris Evans is too jacked now. That dude is.
Oh
jacked.
Yeah, no, he's too big. But I'm just saying, dudes that went from like pudgy to like or baby face looking to, you know, well-rounded looking dudes that aren't freakishly ripped. I mean, he's freakishly ripped now, which he can be because he fucking touched that goddamn stone.
Right. John Krasinski.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, he was in 13 Hours, which is a fantastic movie. Yes, the one you're talking about where he got all jacked for because he was doing special ops stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. Okay. Oh, and he is actually, it's funny you should say that. Did you know that he is playing, there is a new TV series coming out in 2018. I don't know if it's in pre-production right now, but he is playing, they're doing a Jack Ryan TV series and he's playing Jack Ryan. And
nice.
I don't hate that.
That's cool.
That's awesome. Okay.
I was going to say I could see him as like a Die Hard reboot. He's almost a little too tall, but whatever.
Everyone's too taller than Bruce Willis. I mean, that's just the case.
Yeah.
We need to do this kind of talk like when there's a week where there's nothing we're going to watch, just because we could do this for 2 hours. Just talk about whatever's coming out and all that shit.
I could talk about pretty much anything for 2 hours.
Yeah. Tweet at us. Let us know what you guys want us to do whenever we have a down week and there's nothing to see, even though I just got my movie pass in the mail this week. So we are set, because if you've stayed on this long and you want to know what's coming on after Star Trek Discovery on the Two Dads Review podcast, we are the week after the finale of Star Trek Discovery is the week that Black Panther is released. So we'll be going to see that, and we'll have a review for you soon thereafter. The Corey and I, the old guys,
and I'm pretty sure that review won't be nothing short of amazing.
Yeah,
like I'm pretty sure I'm gonna give it 10s across the board. I just got a feeling.
Yeah, it's gonna be one of those. Yeah, it's gonna be one of the ones of the year that's gonna be crazy. The week after that is Annihilation with Natalie Portman. That's going to be a sci-fi ride that I'll probably enjoy more than you will. We'll see. It could be amazing no matter what. I'm super stoked about seeing it, though.
Yeah, man, I just hate when sci-fi like ends up being like too cerebral and boring. You know, where it's like everything's in a sterile environment and everything is like monotonous and day to day because we've lost all emotion. Like if it ends up being something like that, I'm like, God damn it, you motherfucking movie people! Like, why do you make this shit?
I think you'll be fine with this one then. The week after that is Red Sparrow, which is Jennifer Lawrence's new one, where she's playing a Soviet spy / assassin raised from birth or very young in the arts of assassinating, including by using your feminine wilds.
Yeah, basically she's like a female Agent 47.
Yeah, pretty much. It looks interesting. There's not a lot coming out that week, so it's pretty much the best of the bag that's coming out that week, so we'll see how it turns out. The week after that, Jessica Jones Season 2 drops on Netflix. I believe that's the next week after that. And we will be reviewing that one. Depending on the movie lineup, we may break that into 2 episodes, like half the season the first week, half the next week. But it depends on the movies coming out or whatever's coming out the week after that. So stay tuned. We'll let you guys know. But
either way, there'll always be something coming.
There'll be something coming. We'll do this once a week because it's only once a week. You guys can show up, subscribe. Any place that you listen to podcasts, make sure you hit that subscription button. Make sure you hit the notification button because it's never the same day twice. But lately, it's only been Thursdays, so that's fine too. I mean, you know, whatever you got to do, but make sure you sign up to get notifications, leave reviews where you can. Comment where you want to. Everybody on YouTube, hi to you out there. We can't wait to maybe even work with a couple of you in the future. You never know. Since we've been talking, we may have to have some more guests on the show. Maybe next Star Trek season. We'll find out what happens there. But
yeah, we'll get a few guest spots on. I feel like
that's right. I got to get something. I got to get something better than like, hey, download Audacity and try to work this freeware, which is fine if you work the kinks out of it. But last 2 weeks ago or whenever we had Luke on, was that last week? Week before. Yeah, the week before. It was all my fault the way his audio was. I'm not sure if I apologized last week for his audio that week, but it's because he was running Audacity. He had the mic set up. He just didn't have the right input put in, and we didn't know that till the end of it. And that's my fault because I know that Audacity is stupid and I wasn't running my backup recording. So what are you going to do? But there's services out there. So we'll be able to get some listeners on if they want to be on the show and, contribute to the stuff that we do here. But as always, thank you all for listening, staying on this long, enjoying our podcast week in and week out. And, we love you guys.
Yeah. Thank you guys. I always appreciate the listens and always appreciate the feedback. I hope everybody has a great week.
Catch you guys next week.